Welcome to the Skelton Report. I'm Mark Nathaniel Skelton. Today we're going to be discussing executive functions. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for this info and more like it as we get started with today's presentation on executive functions. Now, if you've ever wondered what are the mental skills that help us to pay attention, juggle multiple tasks, and remember instructions, they are a group of skills collectively called executive functions. EF for short. And as you can see here, you have these business execs, quote unquote, you see that, working together to perform tasks. So that's a way to help you, a memory tactic to help you remember what executive functions are. And it's important to know that executive functions are literally used for everyday behaviors and tasks, whether it be at home, school, work, or in the community. And it's very important to keep these skills sharp and healthy because a lot of neurological and neurocognitive disorders, such as Alzheimer's, may result when these skills experience significant deficits or declines. So today we'll be talking about the neuroanatomy, or where executive functions take place in the brain, some examples of executive functioning, and ways of improving executive functions. So let's go ahead and dive in it with the neuroanatomy. Now, executive functions are part of what they call higher order, higher level functioning, and that's just because they were developed last with brain development. So for instance, the brainstem forms first, and that's more your basic level, like breathing and digestion and heartbeat takes place here. Then next is the subcortical area, so it's underneath this. If you can see underneath this, X-ray wise, and that's like your emotions and your reward systems all in this area. And then last, this wrinkled area that you typically see when you think of a brain. That's the cerebral cortex, and that's where the higher functioning, quote unquote, skills take place. Now, it's specialized, I highlighted over here, in the prefrontal cortex, okay? And I say that because the brain at the end of the day still works together collectively. Frontal and non-frontal areas work together when decision and behavior occurs. So to make an example, your eyes, let's say they see a delicious cake, your eyes see that, that's processed back here. Then your dopamine starts going off, that looks good, taste buds are growing. But then if you're on a diet, you're going to use this prefrontal area, your executive functions, to say, not right now. All right, we're going to hold off on that. You see that? You see how every area works together for a decision to be made. So we're going to talk about these executive functions. So working memory, self-control, and all that takes place here. Now, what are some examples of executive functioning so you can get a better idea? All right, so this is conceptualized more through the brief, all right, and this is a questionnaire that helps screen for executive functioning in everyday life. And so to inhibit, this is the ability to resist impulses and to stop one's behavior at the appropriate time. All right, so again, this skill here is an executive function. It's really to help with impulse and consider potential consequences of someone's action. So that's an executive function. Another one is shifting. Shifting is the ability to make transitions, tolerate change, problem solve, more mental flexibility, and switch or alternate one's attention from one focus topic to another. All right, so in this, someone who's good with this will have the ability to accept different ways of solving problems, demonstrate flexibility in performing day-to-day tasks. This is another executive function. Emotional control, which reflects the influence of executive functions on the expression and regulation of one's emotion. Be able to react to events in an appropriate way without emotional outbursts, or sudden or frequent mood changes, and or excessive periods of feeling upset. So when you're good in that area, you have more emotional control. Self-monitoring. This is another executive functioning. This reflects on the individual's awareness of the effect that his or her behavior has on another. So one that's good at this will be reasonably observant of their behavior and how that behavior may impact and may have an impact on social interactions when working with others. Initiation. This is another executive function. As you can see, executive functions encompass a lot of tasks that we're able to perform. Initiation reflects an individual's ability to get up and get going, get started on a physical or mental activity, such as generating problem-solving ideas or getting up and starting a task. Okay, so that's initiation. Working memory. This is described as the capacity to hold information in mind in order to complete a task, encode, or store information or generate new goals. This is really needed when you're multitasking or there's something that has multiple steps that you're doing, such as a math problem, being able to hold, if you said 35 minus 23, you have to hold those two sets of problems in mind and kind of manipulate the information to subtract the bottom from the top. So working memory plays a big role in our daily life. Another executive function is planning and organization. These are important components of problem solving. Task monitoring. This captures the ability to attend to one's success or failures on tasks, and the ability, watch this, to adjust strategies or correct work appropriately. Okay, and sometimes, and when you're younger, sometimes children are a little more emotional. They're not able to switch up a strategy, and then they get upset and they start crying. So you see how all these are kind of tied in together. So this emotional control, task monitoring, and then also organization of material. And this is the ability to organize things in one's environment, including the maintenance of orderly living and stored space. So this is just an idea of how encompassing executive functions can be and how they're very important in your life. And these are those things that you don't miss them until they're gone. All right. If you're not able to hold on to working memory, again, you see that in like a lot of Alzheimer's type patients and neurocognitive disorders. If you're not able to bring in new information, it can be devastating to an individual. So ways to improve executive functioning. There's a lot of research out there, and what I'm gathering is physical fitness, so aerobic exercises. There's a lot of research that demonstrates the benefits of exercise and getting active and getting that blood flowing. Again, the brain really works off blood flow and oxygen. So physical fitness gets that going. Mindfulness, repeatedly coming up in the research, just setting still, being aware of your surroundings, being in the present moment, taking time and space. You could call that prayer too, prayer, meditation, all that can be a leg of mindfulness. Especially in children, increasing joy, social belonging, and support. This research by Diamond shows that, hey, these are the areas, particularly with youth, that are helpful. More research more recently is coming out as computerized training games. And I can tie this with this, as well as elderly smartphone apps, which are specifically designed to improve executive functioning, have shown to be effective in improving your executive functioning and keeping yourself and your skills sharp. So as a recap, we know that neuroanatomy-wise, the prefrontal cortex specializes in executive functions, but it connects to other parts of the brain. Some examples of executive functions encompass several different skills, as we've seen, needed to perform everyday tasks and behaviors. And there's ways to improve, stay on top of your physical exercise, mindfulness, connection with others, computer gaming, and brain training designed to improve executive functioning. Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow at Mark N. Skelton and check out the podcast, Mark N. Skelton, the Skelton Report. And here goes our references. And let's pull it back in. All right. That's all I got for today. I hope that was helpful to you as it was to me. And remember, the more that you learn, the more that you earn. Peace.